So now that Karen Bass has been elected mayor of LA, she says she does want to hit the ground running on certain issues affecting the city. So I'm just going to show you, if you haven't seen it, here's a one-on-one interview she did with ABC7 talking about what she wants to happen when she takes over in just a couple of weeks.
The campaign is over and it's time to get to work. So what does Mayor-elect Karen Bass have in store for Los Angeles?
We are definitely going to identify some of the most challenging encampments and make sure that we can get those people housed. But declaring a state of emergency really allows us to rally, bring together the city agencies, and allows us to look at especially city-owned land and fast-track things.
What happened to Garcetti? And I was thinking about this the other day. He was the former mayor. I know you're into Cleveland politics, but this is LA stuff. You know what I was thinking about? I had this thought. Eric Garcetti, why the fuck did you want to be mayor? Like, what is the ambition? Like, to go, you know, all I want to do is fly this airplane. That's all I want to do. And then they put you up in the pilot's flight deck and you go, I'm bored.
I didn't do it as I thought
I'm heading to the back. We use the bathroom. Like, why did Garcetti want to be mayor? He didn't do anything. He was never around. Nothing changed. It just everything just got sort of slowly worse. More trash, more homelessness, like more crime. Like, but really, at its core, why do you want to do this? Then, I mean, I get it's a cool title to be mayor of Los Angeles, but then you kind of show up and you're like, He didn't do I didn't hear him interviewed a lot. I didn't hear like a lot of proclamations. There wasn't like, you know, by 2021, we're going to, it was nothing.
No.
Just kind of showed up. And then at the end, he was just sort of like, well, no one really liked me. And I'm thinking about India and I want to be the ambassador.
That's right.
And so I'm just going to kind of lay low for the next 6 months and you guys sort of take over. But like, I would like to get him really high and just go, what did you want to do? Like, what was the plan? What did you want to do? Because you didn't do any of it, but did you want to do it or you just want to kind of hobnob?
Well, because take, for instance, Krayzie Bone. When he says he's going to do shit, he does shit. What was your plan?
I would work Krayzie Bone into that
You'd
conversation.
You know?
So when you're declaring a state of emergency, here's some of the stuff that happens.
Wait, there's a story I was looking for, Chris. Maybe it's a New York Times one, but there's one where some council person wants to get rid of internal combustion automobiles, and the other one is working on something that's not going to work for homelessness. But anyway, yeah. So so Caruso wanted to do this too. He wanted to do a state of emergency,
right?
And then what?
So that gives. It triggers immediate emergency regulations into effect, whatever those are, a lot of police power, and a lot of funding. So we don't know what she's going to do with that. She hinted at, give the unhoused houses, but we know it's way deeper than that. And I guess we'll just have to see.
Well, okay, couple things. You can't let things metastasize. You catch that first cancer cell and you fucking jump on it. The first time someone pulls up in a Winnebago and parks it in front of the Hollywood Bowl, you have to jump on that. Because at a certain point, it becomes overwhelming. Now it's a throng. It's a mass of humanity. And it's much less manageable. Like you don't
have the manpower to figure it out.
You just have to hop on that immediately. And then, the self-proclaimed homeless advocates, who are these people? Who's paying these people? Why do you get to be an expert on homelessness? None of your suggestions have done anything except for exacerbate the problem. Maybe you're not an expert. Like, could you imagine if a homeless expert was your veterinarian? It's like, yeah, everyone brings their dog in, dies. But don't you worry. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Don't you question me. I've anointed myself an advocate.
Well, and that's sort of the thing I never understood, like when they were, quote unquote, cleaning up Echo Park and, trying to, give that back to the neighborhood. And then they said, absolutely not. My first thought is, so it's good enough that these people live out the rest of their days in these encampments and being sick or being drug users when there are programs we could put into effect to actually raise them up. This is good enough for you. We don't do this to animals. Why is this good enough for people?
Yeah, the city councilman Paul Cortez is seeking to ban the sale of new gas cars in L.A. by 2030. again.
Well, we're all independently wealthy, so it'll be fine.
These are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. People are going to leave way before that if you don't get the homeless thing, crime and everything, and trash. By the way, how could you not have a trash issue? You have tens of thousands of homeless people living on the street. Of course, there's going to be a trash issue. What are they supposed to do with their trash? And their home and encampment is a form of trash.
Well, and like Dr. Drew said how many years ago that it's, what is it? Not the plague. The bubonic plague? Was that it? It's because of the trash and then the rats and then the fleas stay on the rats and then we all get the plague.
Yes.
That's fun. You're local here, yes?
Yes.
So
yes,
you
yeah.
You're familiar.
I see it all happen. I'm like, yes.
And that's the question, like with the officials. It's like, where do you live? Because this is everywhere. Acting like it doesn't exist.
Well, there's a law. It needs to be enforced. I don't know why we turned a blind eye to basically, we have no camping ordinances. You're not allowed just to camp on the beach overnight. But
the hell you're not.
Well, now you can camp next to on the boardwalk. But either way, it's got to be cleaned up. And now it's going to sting. Because, again, back to the cancer metaphor, get it early. It may not be that disruptive. We're getting the scalpel out now. Yeah. Like, we're going to have to start carving out parts. You're going to lose a lung. Like, we let it go. We let it metastasize. And now we're getting into some deep surgery here. But it still needs to be done.
Yeah. So we'll look forward to see what Ms. Baz does about that. Something that I think you, Adam, may have been expecting, but the rest of us weren't. If you're someone who thinks that smoking marijuana isn't as bad for you as smoking cigarettes because it's not addictive, here's some new news for you. Researchers from the Radiological Society of North America were comparing lungs of weed smokers, tobacco smokers, and non-smokers, and concluded that smoking marijuana is more harmful to your lungs than cigarettes. But there's a very, to me, when I read it, I was like, of course, obvious reason why that might be.
Your harsh and crazy bones melt right now.
But I'm just going to give you an alternative that might help. The study shows that the rates of emphysema, airway inflammation, and enlarged breast tissue were higher in marijuana than in tobacco smokers. Doctors believe the major factor of the emphysema is that marijuana smokers just breathe more deeply, hold it longer, and that's causing a lot more damage inside when you're trying to get more bang for your buck.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Time to go edibles, right?
You go edibles, maybe a vape, some vegetable glycerin.
You know, I can't be inventing this, but they have a nicotine patch.
Well, there's CBD lotions and stuff. I don't know about THC.
Is there like a THC patch for like a long flight?
God, that would fuck me up.
Yeah.
Somebody got to get on that shit.
That's a good idea.
I think a THC patch for a long flight sounds like a very bad idea. That's some like John Lithgow, Gremlins on the Wing type shit.
Well, that's because you're lightweight.
That's what I am these days.
But for the guys in the band.
That's right.
Yeah, need the extra punch.
I mean, I guess you can. I guess you can eat a gummy or something now. I remember once Jimmy packed a pot cookie for us because he would get air sick.
Yeah.
And the pot cookie helped for air sickness.
Sure.
And I remember we were sitting up there in first class, and he handed me one of the cookies, and I was like, all right, I'm down. And I started eating the cookie, and he's like, the stewardess was coming by. Like, he was like, no, not in front of it. And I was like, if I put my jacket over my head and eat this cookie, she's going to know right now I can pass this off as a Mrs. Fields.
Exactly.
But if I put the jacket over my head, she's going to know something's up. So I'm going to sit here in broad daylight and eat this cookie.
Good point.
Yeah.
Krayzie Bones, any stories that you'd like to impart? Any wisdom maybe from any weed smoking, anything, edibles that you'd like us to know?
I mean, I know I don't necessarily do the edibles before I take a flight because I did it one time. Yeah. And I was so paranoid.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought about, before the plane even took off, I was like, what if we don't make it there? All kind of stuff going through my head, like Final Destination. I'm like, wait, I'm not doing this no more.
See Liam Neeson walking down the aisle talking on his phone, and you're like, shit,
right.
it's on.
Yeah. Not a great plan.
Well, it's some people get really paranoid and fixated and whatever. I mean, that's why you can never ignore booze, because it's always the same outcome.
It's always there for you.
You're going to get relaxed. You're not going to care nearly as much about whatever. And at some point, you'll just pass out and you'll wake up in New York or Chicago or Ohio. And that'll be that. So you never sleep on booze. But it does make sense if you're ripping bong loads and holding it in as long as you possibly can. Yeah. There's going to be a little damage. And cigarettes, we always talk about this. Like, everyone gets so caught up in the nicotine. Nicotine's not bad for you. Just like caffeine is not bad for you. It's just sort of inert. It's the smoke that's bad for you.
The formaldehyde or whatever else they're putting in it.
Whatever else they're putting in there.
I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, so I can't wait to get your opinions on this, especially if you've ever heard of her. If you're tired of making your own decisions, you can do what this 23-year-old French chick has done. She's letting her OnlyFans followers make all of her decisions. Like, that's what they're paying to do.
Take your panties off?
That's right. Everything from what to eat for lunch, who to date. The woman goes by Lori. We have a picture of her, very attractive woman. Wrote in her bio, "No, this is not a joke. As of today, I have decided that I will no longer make the important decisions in my life. It's up to you. You choose the future of this account." Her ideas suddenly made her one of the most popular content creators on OnlyFans. She says so far it's worked out well. People have actually tried to give her good advice. They've advised her to get out of a toxic relationship, to leave a bad job, to conquer a fear of heights by flying in a helicopter. So nothing sadistic yet. Yet.
So there's if you're just a hot blonde chick, that's just a job now,
That's a job.
Right? Yeah. That's your gig.
That's your income source.
Like, you used to have to get a job as a receptionist and then hook up with the boss, and then that could be your job. But now you don't have to leave the house.
No.
Just hang out and be hot.
Live your life. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can fart into a jar and sell that to German guys.
You know that's true, yes. That's a real girl, fart jar girl.
I saw that. I heard, yes.
And didn't she blow her colon out?
She had some medical issues.
Yeah.
You know.
That is crazy.
Well,
she's overworked.
She's an athlete. You're going to have injuries.
Absolutely.
You got to rub some dirt on it and get back out on that field.
We talked to her. I liked her.
I liked her too. But I think she went to selling other things.
Oh.
Yeah, she went to NFTs, digital fart work, she called it, and then
What?
and then after that, I think she's selling her boob sweat.
Oh yeah, she's selling boob
that.
sweat.
Yeah.
I could have done that a year ago.
Yeah, you missed out.
That would have been
This whole
easy.
bonanza, boob sweat. And so this is just a hot chick. So that's how she makes her living now.
You know what? I don't know if this is still what they're doing.
It's kind of weird when you think about these OnlyFans chicks and guys and whatever. You used to have, if you're a hot chick and you didn't feel like working, you'd get one sugar daddy.
Sure.
Now you have 2,000 sugar daddies.
Right.
And they all give you $11 a month. And you'll be fine. I'm going to explain that to my daughter. You can get one sugar daddy and hit him up for the whole nut every month, or you can spread it out. And then you don't need a rich old guy to be your sugar daddy anymore, because you can have a bunch of sugar daddies who work normal jobs.
This is your parenting plan?
Part of it. It's not the entire plan. I want them in the academy.
I would
them to
say
transfer.
You probably make more money with the sugar daddy, but less physical contact with the e-daddies. Probably for the best.
Yeah, but the sugar daddies, if you can get enough daddies under the tent, you can make some good cash.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, no one can.
Every hot girl that I was friends with when I first moved out here, they all had the same job. They were all bottle promo girls at events.
Bottle service?
No, we're working for Michelob today, and we're going out to the whatever, and we're handing out beer, and I guess that's what hot girls do. I wasn't asked.
The former hot girl job was the model who stood next to the car at the auto show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the 80s hot girl.
I would always strike up a conversation with them.
She's used to that.
They had their shtick, their
Oh,
spiel.
you. Do you come with that car?
No.
Oh, you.
I literally saw that on The Simpsons
That's exactly
last
why
night.
I said it.
They would do the beginning where they go, the 1989 Jeep Wrangler has 444 rear gears and 12 inches of suspension travel and a 3.2 liter inline six engine with 186 foot-pounds of torque, because that was the shit they had to remember.
Oh, wow.
They could get that part.
Right.
But then
No
if you
follow-up
started
questions.
talking to them about anything else that had to do with that Jeep Wrangler, they didn't know jack squat.
And you'd press them on it?
Yeah, I would.
That's awfully mean.
Yeah. It's part of their job.
Sure.
They're
Are you a car
ambassadors.
guy?
Oh yeah, I love cars. I love cars.
What's your favorite, or what do you have that you love?
But man, I've had like a lot. My favorite car is the Mercedes Benz. I like that. You know what I'm saying? More than like Bentleys and stuff like that. Because I don't like to draw too much attention. I just like something nice that can move fast. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying. But I like truck. I love trucks though. SUVs. Escalades. The Tahoes. You know what I'm saying? I like,
Off-roading or just to have?
just to have.
Have you got them pimped out?
No. I mean, I stopped doing that to my cars like years ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm too old for this. I just need to get in it. You just need to take me to where I got to go. That's it for real.
And also, like, putting your initials on the headrest doesn't add a lot to resale.
Right. No.
Unless the person has the same
KD.
initials.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you find someone who's
Kathy Bates.
if with a different name, like, if you want to sell it to Kathy Bates, she might pay a premium for it.
But that's all I can think of. I think.
These people get these cars, dump a ton of money into the stereo and the upholstery and all that shit, and it's not worth anymore when they're done.
Yeah, you just got to sit up and watch it get old. That's it.
And then you can never sell it.
Exactly.
Because you put 110 grand into a car that stickered for 65 and is now worth 42.
Well, let's talk about money. Someone just spent more than $200,000 on an old pair of old Birkenstocks owned and worn by Steve Jobs. That set a record for the highest price ever paid for a pair of sandals at auction, according to the auction house. The tech pioneer's brown suede, just dirty
Who
old
was
ragged.
second in the sandal department? Like Julius Caesar? You know what I mean? Like, who was another famous?
Jesus.
Who did he beat out? Yeah, someone from biblical days.
Right.
Be Job or Ham or somebody. Like,
Yeah.
who's second in the sandal department? I mean, it's not like somebody paid $156,000 for Paul Abdul's flip-flops.
No, these went for $218,750. They thought it was going to go for $60,000. Mark Scheff, a former manager to Steve Jobs. So this is how did we even come to find these? He got his hands on these shoes during one of Jobs' many clear outs of his possessions, real minimalist. In addition to the physical shoes, the buyer also, of course, gets an NFT, because that's what we do now, with a 360-degree representation of the Birkenstocks. The shoes were reportedly on Jobs' feet in the Los Altos garage, where he and Steve Wozniak founded Apple and have been part of many museum exhibits. We don't know who bought it, but, they got to have some good juju in them.
Those are well worn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I always found Birkenstocks to be super ugly.
Very.
They're
Couldn't wear 'em too
unattractive,
wide.
right?
Yeah.
But they're German, and he liked all things German. That's why I loved Porsche so much. So he was a fan of German design, so it would make sense that he'd have the Birkenstocks and drive the Porsche around.
Although those two things couldn't be further apart in class.
Yes. Most expensive footwear, Nike Air Yeezy 1, designed by Kanye, sold for $1.8. But we're in the most expensive sandal department.
Yeah, we're not talking about like Michael Jordan's shoe.
I know. That's just another fact I found while I was looking. I can't find the second most.
I think the
sandals.
second most was just retail at the Foot
Yeah,
Locker
right,
for a pair of
exactly.
Hirachis that were nice.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, he's now everyone who has like a Steve Jobs turtleneck sweater or glasses.
Of course.
Or everyone's excited now, right?
Yeah, that's the look. So I know as you hear this, Thanksgiving is over.
No, I mean, if you own any of that shit, you're now sitting on a bunch of
Oh,
cash.
absolutely. Absolutely. As you hear this, Thanksgiving's over, but I just found this fun fact, and I have to share it with you because we've talked about sort of stuff around this, had no idea. This is amazing. So Thanksgiving is very, very tied to TV dinners, and I really don't know if this is something that you knew already.
Oh, there was the turkey Thanksgiving dinner.
Do either of you know why?
No, I remember that was a winner
Yes,
at the Carolla
sure,
house. It had
sure.
the turkey and it had a little
stuffing.
cranberry cobbler
Yeah,
thing
yes.
and a little thing. And they, even though we'd
I
put a
miss
man
those.
on the moon, they could not prevent kernels of corn from getting into the cobbler.
Right.
So you'd be picking out peas and corn
Yeah.
from the hot cobbler that was in the middle. And I could always eat 17 of those,
Yeah.
but I just got the one.
With the foil tray.
Yes.
And then everything was kind of warm, but like the dessert was always piping lava hot.
Lava hot.
Okay. So we're on the same page.
Rivaled only by the Jack in the Box apple pie that if you ever just bit into that thing, it would take your face off because it was molten inside. The outer crust would cool off, but the inside was liquid molten death.
Okay. Well, this is important news then. BestLife.com reports that in 1953, due to an ordering error, food company Swanson was stuck with 260 tons of frozen turkeys. And instead of tossing all the turkeys and taking a loss, Swanson's salesman, Jerry Thomas, came up with the idea inspired by meals they served on planes. He ordered 5,000 aluminum trays and organized an assembly line of workers to fill them with turkey, peas, cornbread, and sweet potatoes. That's how the TV dinner was born.
Oh, the TV
The
dinner.
TV dinner, because the Swanson people over-ordered and said, wait a second, you know how on planes you get a little tray of food? And that's how we got the TV dinner.
It's a good tacit agreement and a balance between a super lazy mom and a hungry kid.
Sure.
Which is basically, I don't feel like making fried chicken. I don't know what Salisbury steak is. I'm not making a full trimmed turkey.
No.
But for $1.99, I will pop this shit in the oven.
Yeah. We love TV dinners.
I did too.
Oh,
That was a big deal.
What was the TV dinner of choice?
Mine was the Salisbury steak. I love it. I still love it to this day. I ain't gonna even lie. I smash them for real.
Were you a hungry man?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hungry man. Yep.
Hungry man, All right, let's see if we can work this out. The Salisbury steak always felt weird to me. It felt like bologna. Like I didn't know what it was comprised of. I stuck with the fried chicken, and I did the turkey, and then there was a Salisbury steak, and I don't know if there was a fourth one. I just remember
I love the fried chicken because you remember we grew up in a Weight Watchers Snackwell's house. I never got to have good shit, so when we got fried chicken, that was a big deal.
Oh, they had a Mexican food one.
They did?
Yeah, they had an enchilada with the beans and the rice.
Oh,
They had an
we didn't get that one.
Yeah, they had an enchilada tray too, which makes sense. Or maybe that was a SoCal thing. I don't know, but that's lots of cans of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My canned corn consumption is down 7,000% from when I was 11. You know what I mean? The vegetable would be a can of corn.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was, especially when my dad was a bachelor. TV dinner. Oh yeah, I got the Mexican style
That's
dinner.
it.
It's
Wow.
got the enchilada.
That looks like
Yeah, it's kind of a weird
That's
dark
not a great
picture.
picture.
But it had the enchilada. My grandfather used to customize it a little. He'd chop up a little tomato and sprinkle a little extra cheese on
I
top
love
of
doctoring it, yeah.
Yes, doctor that dinner.
that's good. Oh, they also had a Chinese one.
Oh, yes.
Are you aware of this?
Yes, it's all coming back to me. I had the Mexican one. I had the Chinese one, mostly the chicken one. Yeah, the Chinese one was kind of, I don't, chow mein or something with bits of chicken and stuff.
Yeah, very basic.
It was all a caloric mess.
Yeah.
It was not good
With
for
a
you.
giant pool of sticky sweet sauce in the middle to dip.
Yes.
Now I'm hungry. Sounds good.
And we didn't have a microwave. It was all, 50 minutes in the oven.
That is fancy as fuck if you can actually oven bake that thing.
Yeah, but it's an hour.
That's true.
Because it's a frozen brick when you get out of the freezer, and I've just paced by that oven, just staring into it, looking like, you open the door, you let the heat out. I don't care.
Another 7 minutes.
I'm checking on the enchilada, Ma. Get out of here. What are you doing in the kitchen anyway, bitch? You don't cook. I'm looking after my own enchilada.
Wow.
The whole enchilada. I am in charge. And, Chris, they made also one-off just enchilada in a tray.
Ooh la la.
Minus the rice, and it wasn't the whole dinner.
Yeah.
It was just a frozen enchilada.
A la carte offering.
Oh, somebody brought up Taco Bell in the enchilada. Familiar? Did they have that in Cleveland?
No.
They have Taco Bell?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, but did they have it when you were a kid?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's only tacos I used to eat until I came out here. I was like, everybody eat tacos out here. I'm like, we didn't do it in Cleveland like that, but Taco Bell was the spot. For real.
Someone said they're bringing back the enchilada.
So the enchilada, they're bringing it back between now and November 30th.
Oh, we got to wrap this shit up.
Yeah, marketing push.
I'm getting over there. That was good.
Wait, is that better than the Bell Beefer?
They're different. They're equal. They're like my kids. I couldn't really pick one.
Yeah.
But the
Bell Beefer.
It was essentially an enchilada. Don't sleep on an enchilada. Most people go out Mexican food and they always get tacos or burritos. Yeah. Get an enchilada. Get a good,
you won't be disappointed.
Good enchilada. You'll not be disappointed.
Is this just a wet burrito?
It's basically an enchilada as far as I can tell. It's just a tortilla and beef and sauce and cheese.
Taco Bell enchilada.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. I don't know if they have cheese.
Yeah, it's enchilada and burrito put together. Enchilada.
Enchilada, right.
It's a flour tortilla with seasoned ground beef, and then beans, diced onions, cheddar cheese, and red sauce.
Wet burrito.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good, though.
I want it.
Yeah, it does.
And the Bell Beefer, still, after all the years of me complaining into a microphone.
Have you heard of the Bell Beefer? That wasn't around for me.
No.
You're too young.
No, I didn't. No.
Was it like a sloppy Joe?
Yeah.
No, it had all the components of a sloppy Joe, but it wasn't sloppy.
Oh.
It was just a hamburger bun, taco meat, shredded lettuce, and cheese. And I don't know, maybe a little sauce or
that
something.
Looks pretty
and
good too.
That looked good. See?
It was a sloppy Joe without the slop.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked good. I'll eat that too. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's bring it home because I'm getting hungry.
I know. We got to go get this back on track. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, Krayzie Bone, the podcast, Truth Talks, and you can watch it on YouTube. And the foundation, if you want to get behind a good cause, spreadtheloveoh.com is where you go. And Martin Dugard taking Berlin, the bloody race to defeat the Third Reich is, am I missing something? Oh, I got a Jordan Harbinger first. Yes, all right. Last but not least, there's Jordan Harbinger. All right. Krayzie Bone, you can go to the website spreadthelove.oh. I should say spreadtheloveoh.com is where you go. Truth Talks. Available on YouTube. You can watch that podcast. And then Martin Dugard taking Berlin. You can see me doing stand-up at the Rialto Theater December 15th in Tucson. And then we'll all be at the the Improv at Tempe. Yeah, 16th and 17th. Go down Carolla.com. Good to see you. I was going to say again, but it was a different Bone that came into Loveline. But thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So, until next time, Adam Carolla for Martin Dugard, Krayzie Bone, and Gina Grad saying mahalo.